Hi there. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, Maximizing Your Time to Value in Your SAP Transformation. My name is Shaumik Ghosh. I'm Senior Assistant Editor with the Economic Times CIO, and I'm glad to be your host and moderator for today's webinar. Now, modern enterprises are under immense amount of pressure, and why not? Businesses want things done yesterday. And this holds true when it comes to SAP transformation journeys as well. But achieving real value goes beyond system upgrades. It requires seamless alignment of people, processes, and data. Now, in this exclusive webinar, we've got two sides of the story, one from the implementer and one from the solution provider, where they come together to share proven strategies for accelerating outcomes through human-centric approaches, robust data governance, and the strategic use of AI and analytics. We've got a lot in store for you, and we've wanted this to be extremely conversational, extremely interactive. We've got a lot of poll questions for you, and I would request the audience members also to share their questions with us in the Q&A box. Our experts here would be more than happy to assist you with them. Now, before I introduce you to our speakers, we've got a quick poll coming up for you to set the context. So can I have my team launch the first poll, please? Let's get started with this. The first poll is, who is the executive sponsor of your ERP transformation? And these are most likely the situations that we see in every enterprise. It's either the CEO, which is the business, CFO, the finance side of it, or the CIO, the technology head. Right? We would request you to participate in the poll, share your inputs with us. And in the meantime, I'm happy to introduce to you our speakers for today's session. So let me start with Sudesh Sharma. Sudesh, can we have you on screen, please?
All right. Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us, Sudesh. It's an absolute pleasure hosting you. Now, Sudesh Sharma is the Head of Information Technology at Panasonic India. Sudesh, a quick word about your role in the company, please.
Thank you, Shaumik. I'm looking forward to this conversation. So myself, Sudesh Sharma. I'm working as a head of IT for Panasonic India. I have around 25 years experience implementing different SAP solutions for different vertical across the different geographies. And definitely SAP has become in terms of more of the solution rather than the business value. It can transform the complete business altogether, the different value chain. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
Welcome again, Sudesh. Pleasure to host you. And up next is Merlin Jung. He's the VP, SAP Strategy and Delivery at Kyndryl. He's the SAP wizard. Throw all of your questions at him, and he'd be more than happy to address them. Merlin, thank you again for joining us. It's a pleasure hosting you.
My pleasure. And just like Sudesh, and Sudesh, it's good to see you again. I'm 25 years in the industry. I started as SAP consultant, and I spent the last 25 years as transformation executive trying to introduce firm-level change through transformative business and IT projects.
All right, perfect. Now, audience members, we are going to be focusing on the implementation, the challenges, and best practices side of the story, so do stay tuned. All right, with that said, can we close the first poll, and let me see what our audience members have voted. Can we have the results up on the screen? All right, so 54% say that it's led by the CIO, the technology head. Merlin and Sudesh, your views, is this how it's meant to be? Is this aligned with your expectations?
Okay, so I will go first. 10 years back, answer would have been right, but not anymore. I think SAP has come a long way, and to have a successful project transformation, the business has to be sponsored, and that is what I have seen in my experience as well. With the major transformation, it has to be a partnership with the business. It has to be led by the business, while IT is enabler. IT definitely function. We do that, but end of the day, it's a business. It's a product. We are helping business to run the business. So it should be someone CFO or CEO should be the sponsor of the project.
Right. That's interesting. In fact, CEOs, only 4% of them say that CEOs take the call. But yes, finance has got a major say. Close to a quarter of them say, finance is also the one to take the call on this.
Yeah. And I can only second what Sudesh says. That's operational reality. And it is
Right.
part of the problem why so many projects now fall short of expectations, because it's really about the operational reality in aligning business and IT. IT on its own, that is not going to be helpful. And we're not going to add value. It's just always going to be reducing cost. And using SAP or any other major transformation, it's not so much about the cost side. That is a prerequisite, but it's about what you can do with it. How do you enable growth, faster time to market? How do you accelerate the value creation? And for that, it is business and IT.
Absolutely, I agree with you. All right, now our audience would love to see, what Kyndryl brings to the table, and also the way you look at SAP transformation. What are the most element parts of it? So over to you, Merlin.
Thank you so much. And when Sudesh and I talked before, I said, as a consulting firm, I have 1 million PowerPoint slides, but I only bring 3 today. And I'm going to be very brief with those. All right. I trust you can see my screen now.
Yeah, we're good.
What the poll already showed is that it's all about creating value. And for that, you need to have the right stakeholder. But it means you need to be super pragmatic. It's not about what we want to build from a technology side, but it is modernizing with scale in mind. And that means we have to go back to the basics. Simple might work. So it's really key that we're being pragmatic and that we mitigate risk and reduce complexity wherever possible, especially as we have grown in over the years, a complexity that at some point may have added value, but it may not do so at this moment. And there's a lot of customization that we have within our enterprise landscape that may not be needed anymore, or that is not adding value. And in order to clean that up, to do the Mary Kondoing of the code and of the data, we need to make use of the best tools available and use AI and under enterprise architecture mindset in order to clean out and clean up, and then do a transformation that not only focuses on being compliant or having maintenance or being cheaper if possible, but that really enables the business to grow. That's what gets you the seat at the table. And that's also how a IT transformation becomes part of the CEO agenda.
All right. So the audience, like I said, this is going to be a highly interactive session. We've got another poll question coming up for you. And this, in fact, is going to be, guiding a lot of how we present the content to you. So these are really important. All right. So the second poll, how do you measure the success of your ERP transformation? Is it through increased efficiency? Would you say cost savings? Improved customer satisfaction, or would it be enhanced data accuracy? Those look to be, very 4 very close options out there, Merlin and Sudesh. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for the poll, Sudesh, we see this is a single choice, but operational reality from running a large infrastructure piece for Panasonic. Is this a single vector of goals that you have?
I think we've got our poll results. All right, team, can you close this poll and pull up the poll results for us, please, for poll 2? Increased efficiency, that takes the lion's share with 40%. Following up with second and third spot, customer satisfaction, enhanced data accuracy, and least of all, cost savings. Suresh and Merlin, I mean, is that a little surprising? Cost savings takes the last place.
Okay, great. So
Yes.
absolutely, the cost saving is important, but I think that is not the primary goal. Most of SAP transformation comes is with the process efficiency, customers, and the data accuracy, because the data is like it's oil, right? Everyone is saying that, but the right data is is the one which you can use it, and you can use for AI and other things. So I think I agree with the people are saying here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. All right. Can we close the poll results, please?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Merlin.
Yeah. So I second that. I think cost efficiency is a hygiene factor that is required. Business have to become more efficient, but that alone doesn't get you to drive towards a successful completion of a project and for the team and the outcome to be considered a success. Now, especially when you look at the data cleansing and the overall efficiency of procedures. The reality is that, if you're born in the cloud, it may all be that you have the embedded experts in the business field. But let's say, in a hybrid environment, we need to embrace on all levels of the organization an architecture mindset. We need to connect the elements that we understand the interdependencies of how we set up a data structure, how we set up the architecture in order to react to changing requirements in the market, and for the firm to adapt, because we're no longer able to work in silos. We're no longer able to work with a 5-year horizon and then do a next update. The world has become a lot more volatile and dynamic, and that needs to be ingrained in the DNA of how we approach an SAP transformation and how the future landscape looks like. Luckily, there is a lot of help that you can get from experts, but also from technology. The key thing is, though, how do you make sure that the people working with the systems are using it and you get the desired outcome? So you need to not underestimate the human element. So all the savings you can get by using advanced tools, they're well invested in an organizational change management and making sure that you embrace the people, that you involve them, maybe even co-create together with your users, so that the technology serves the business outcome, not just for technology's sake. AI and what we discussed on the data side, that's a prerequisite for making all of that fast, flat, and focused. And at the end of the day, we have a shortage of skills. I think that was also mentioned before. We need to make sure that the customer or the user experience, that is of great importance if it comes to the perception of success and how IT is seen as a partner for the business to drive the outcomes. And with that, Sumik, I would say let's have the third poll and hear what our audience thinks of that.
Sure. Team, can we put up the third poll, please? Two very interesting polls. I mean, great results. Quite a few, in line with what our experts have experienced. All right, a third poll question. How integrated is your ERP strategy with your firm-wide data or AI strategy? Is it wholly integrated, partially, or are they separate strategies altogether? Okay, audience, I would request you to choose the right option. And in the meantime, I would want to bring up something very interesting that one of our audience members here has commented, and this is coming from Jaideep Jain. Jaideep says, in my humble opinion, the benefits of ERP or SAP needs to be multifold and not just limited to any of these options. Can we have a quick take on that? What do you think of that, Sudesh, Merlin?
I completely agree. I mean, when any organization agrees or decide to take this journey, it's a lot of commitment required from top to bottom across the different divisions. And as a leaders now, people are very clear why we are implementing. Either you talk about the warehouse management, you talk about the payment collection, the finance side, logistics side, and there are different problems. And when SAP transformation happen, it normally impacts and touches all the function or most of the functions. And if you give it the take example of manufacturing industry, that's the most complex one, and SAP plays a very important role. And as my
Right.
son said, it's important exactly for each division, each leader to understand what is their KPI, how it's going to help. And people are talking about it. People are asking those questions from IT in terms of this is what I'm trying to solve. You confirm whether when we do the SAP implementation, it will get resolved. Either number of days. When you talk about the payment collection, the quality, you can look at the different KPIs based on the division you are heading. So I completely agree with this. And this is a journey. Let's be very clear. It's not a go live date and then you have everything solved. It's not going to happen. It's a journey, and sometimes it's a painful journey. It depends, how much you have done the pre-work or the practice. Let me put it this way. But completely, it can transform the organization and help the both sides, the bottom as well as the top.
Yeah,
over to you, Sam.
absolutely. And regarding the journey, Sudesh, I might add, there's an ancient saying that says brave people learn from own experience and smart people learn from other people's experience. Now, it helps to know what you're talking about and to have been in the trenches and have done your own implementations. And the operational reality is it's never just one or the other. It's always a portfolio of elements to consider. And that's why stakeholder management and making sure you speak the language and the nomenclature of the business unit that needs to be involved. Yeah, because it's no longer standalone. Nobody says, "Oh, the IT guys know best." No, the business is a lot more IT savvy. They have experience with various devices at home in their private life, and what we have to do provide this on enterprise grade resilience and security of information technology. It still needs to meet the requirements. All right, I have one more slide, and it's one where I can speak for hours, but I won't do that. Yeah, it's simply 6 examples of manufacturing, retail, and industry and public side where we have, as Kyndryl, put this into practice, have applied the principles we briefly outlined, and made sure that customer is going on that journey that Sudesh outlined in the most prepared way, with the de-risking of what can go wrong and acceleration of the outcome. I could spend a lot of time on each of these elements, but as we have Sudesh here, I think Sumik, it would be the most interesting actually to continue the conversation and not talk about the ones that we've done in the past. And happy to share more details with anyone who wants that later. So with that, I would stop my presentation and look forward to the conversation.
All right, we come to the conversation part of it, and this is going to be exciting. All right, now we're going to be starting with something that Merlin just mentioned a little while back, and that is, Merlin, you just said that you cannot underestimate the people factor. Let me start with Sudesh. Sudesh, in your experience, what do you think are the most important cultural or mindset shifts that are needed to truly align business and IT teams if you want to have a successful transformation?
Interesting question. And I can tell you, everyone knows the answer, but it's very difficult to implement it. It's about not having a division between IT and business, not versus, business versus IT and you versus me. It's not about that. It's about creating a single team and working in collaboration to solve the business problems. So if I tell you based on my 25 years experience, understanding that project go live is not the finish line. Let's be very clear. And people learn in a hard way, that, okay, go live is done, IT job is done, now it's a business problem. The time has gone, and I'm sure you can understand as well, Marvin will vouch for that one. It's about adoption. It's about value creation after go live. What we plan initially and that is the big problem. So the big items which we agree to fix it are the state, the big business problems. Are we going to fix that? And that is part of the discovery, and the different phase you do that. But after go live, it's about adoption. It's about generating value. It's about reducing the cost of the operation. And that's where sometimes you have to let business lead it. IT doesn't need to be in the front. IT can be in the background based on the stage you are in the project, but it has to be created together. It's not an IT project. Let's be. And that mindset change, that culture change, because it's a control. IT is giving away that control. Otherwise, if you imagine, like it says, IT project manager, IT BA, everyone is IT, and then we celebrate, go live, and hand over to business. It's not about that. It's about IT is giving control of the IT transformation or business transformation to the business teams. And that's why I said the sponsorship should be either CEO or CFO, not CIO. So that's a short answer I can give you.
Right. Thank you so much for that. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Let me also check with Merlin. Merlin, you said that you cannot underestimate the human factor. Please elaborate.
Yeah. And Sudesh and I have seen a lot of, or enough, failed and successful projects that we have almost the same answer, though we come from the different angle. Yeah. So I say this is three key things. Yeah. And it will resonate with what Sudesh said. It really is about stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder at the top, CEO, CFO, even the board. It's about a collaborative leadership. It's no longer the IT guys telling us this is how to do it, and it really needs to be communicated in a way that the business understands the impact, because that's why we're doing it. It means on the practical level, on a day-to-day level, on it's an education journey, and we need to be humble enough to say that we enable our colleagues who run the business. That is a different mindset than the IT guys showing up. The second part is, as you run a program, any program, could be start off production for a new production, could be for an IT project. We're all excited about day one, but it's a little bit like when you run for president, and it's all about the election night, but then you cannot go back to sleep. Then you have to govern. And so in the same way, go live. And we talk, it could be go live weekend or even longer, depending on how much data you're migrating, and you have your cutoff schedules and everything. That's when you have to double down and get into the next year. And for that, you can't do that on your own. You can't do that against the guys who don't understand. And that means you need to connect people and processes, maybe even co-create with the business on the solution, make them buy in, change your culture at the end. That the company post transformation of the SAP landscape will have to operate and live and breathe and collaborate differently than pre. And at the end of the day, the IT guys need to understand why we do that. And that is to run a better, more profitable business. It's not about blinky lights and having the shiniest software. It's about the outcome we can help through delivering better IT landscape.
Thank you for that, Merlin. Now, we've got two more interesting questions coming up. I would want to table these questions, but Arun Gupta, great question there. And Shashwat Mitra, it's a pleasure hosting you. Gentlemen, please stick around. We're going to have these questions addressed in the Q&A section at the end. Let me also take Sudesh's input on some of the best practices. Now, Sudesh, I want to understand it from a technology leader's point of view. As head of information technology at Panasonic, could you share some best practices with our audience, or some of the tools that you've used to measure change adoption in real time, and were you able to pivot accordingly?
Yes, adoption is the key, and I think, hello?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Am I audible? Okay.
You are.
Okay, adoption is the key, and we have used different tools. WalkMe is the one which I like personally. Fury Inventory, you can monitor the adoption there as well. SAP also offer different dashboards as well, where you can look at the adoption, different process, different persona wise. And also when you're talking the adoption or the change in a way that Business is changing every day. Let's understand, it's not going to stop. So you made it live. It doesn't mean that there will not be further change. Hence, adoption is a continuous journey. How we can get best out of it. Process will keep the cost optimizations, and hence we as a team has to do the more improvisation or process improvement. And how to do that? Change management. And change management, how to effectively change management with the better adoption, better training. So you make a plan like we do that 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Make sure that we review it. We review with the board, the stakeholders in terms of what is their feedback. Are they seeing the improvement? In terms of the process efficiency, process KPIs, whether you talk about the OTC, like, those things, master data quality is getting improved. Those things are, minor details, minor KPI, which you agreed upon when the project was kicked off or the sponsored. And those things we keep monitoring. It goes beyond the user login and how much time people are spending in that. It has to go with the process KPI and measure it. That's where the motivation, and you get the right direction where we need to work as a team.
All right, thank you for that. I'm going to get into the data strategy part of the story, but before we get to the data strategy or the data readiness part of it, let me also take an audience poll. Team, can we have the next audience poll, please? Can we have poll number 4 launched for the audience? We'll have a quick look at which ERP module do you believe requires the most improvement in your organization? Is it finance and accounting, supply chain management, human resources, or customer relationship management, CRM? I think that's going to help us mold and also base our answers based on these poll results. And we'll also see if our experts are in line with what our audience thinks here. Okay, let's give it another 10 seconds. Finance and accounting, supply chain, HR, or CRM? All right, I think we've got the answers for this now. Can we have the poll results up, please? Ooh, this is a close one. Supply chain management takes the land share, 42%, followed closely by finance and accounting. Sudesh, I see you nodding. Is this something you experience at your organization as well?
Yes, absolutely. It matches with respect to the supply chain being coming from the manufacturing background in terms of the implementation side. So I can see it because it has a different dimensions, in terms of the master data when you touch the manufacturing supply chain processing. Either you talk about the BOM side, routing side, logistics side, vendor master data altogether. It's a complex thing. And you can have a different version of the master data in that domain specifically. When you plan the project or you start the transformation project, getting the quality master data. And when I'm talking the quality master data, in terms of different source systems, bringing the single version, consolidating it, and assigning the right ownership is the biggest challenge, and then the most of project I've seen, my fair share where the project, after go live, you are struggling because you have a different master data, the same product, different codes, and you don't know which one you should use for the PR procurement process. So it is very important, and that getting it right is the key. It's one of the important part, to getting project right.
Right. Well, Merlin, that was the story in the manufacturing side of things. What's been your experience partnering with other verticals? Do you see supply chain still as the biggest worry in other verticals as well?
In manufacturing, absolutely. Look, the key point that Sudesh made is data is the foundation to everything. In fact, I will go as far, the ensuring data quality, readiness, and governance, to scale that's the condition sine qua non. Without it, it doesn't work, because the future of the enterprise is AI. The basis for AI is data, and let's face it, data is a mess in every single company. So it depends on your industry. I've seen I've seen industries where it's more on the customer relationship side. It also depends on how this data has come about. Some firms have had that went on an M&A spree. They have many different systems that they may not have integrated. Or you have companies that expanded rapidly and have then used different templates, could be different version even of SAP. Yeah, but it could have been also they bought and acquired something which had a different structure. We also often have that companies who work in spaces where they have joint ventures, where at some point a different master that they just template has been used. Yeah, or if you have a very long cycle of investments, that simply the forces of gravity on that are tremendous. And what is important is to get ready. Yeah, you don't run a marathon by suddenly saying, "Oh, let's do a marathon. I'm excited." It takes a long process. So there are conditioning projects. There are certain cleanup projects. Don't cut the corners by saying, "Oh, we don't assess the status quo." And again, involve the business, because some people are very fond of their special master data setup. It needs to be this way because there's something IT doesn't even know, where they have, they export the data, use it for something else, or they import data that you're not aware. So there's a whole, from a security side, from a data flow, there are so many things that are unknown to you prior embarking on that journey, that again, collaboration and focus on data is a key point.
All right. One quick follow-up question from Saswata. I think I'm going to take it here because we're going to lose context if we park it till the end. Saswata is asking us, what if you have the best systems in all areas? Then
a best of breed strategy.
So Saswata is asking, what if you have the best systems in all of the areas? So I think he's referring to, we talked about CRM and supply chain, etc. So you have got the best systems. Is that still going to be a problem?
Best system is one part, but the change management include the process and the persons, the humans, right? And that still require a lot of change management. You understand the best system is for the time frame that is system is best, because your business process has not changed. Let's be realistic here. It's all referential. So the best system might be for this year, for this quarter, or the next 2 years. But as you do the transformation, as you have a new policy or compliance are coming, your best systems are not anymore best. You need to change it, and that is the reality. And everyone understand that. And hence, if they change the system, the master data or transaction data will get impacted. For example, let's say DPD law is coming, privacy law is coming, which will force your best system to change right end of the day to comply with the new law. So to answer in short, best system having is the best option or the best opportunity, but still processes and ready change management is the important part.
Understood. Merlin, you've got somebody who agrees with you wholly. We've got Mr. Panagiotis. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. So he's telling us that Merlin is absolutely right. From my point of view, a data quality project is a must before any transition project takes place. And there's no other way around this. So, yeah, I think, Merlin is going to be emphasizing on that bit. And with that, I'm going to be coming to the next question, and that is the point around data readiness. I'll start with you, Merlin. How do you assess an organization's data readiness before you even embark a large-scale transformation, something like an SAP implementation? Tell me something that's worked for you, or from your experience, what's really worked.
Okay. If you walk into a room, in any boardroom today, and ask, do you have a global data governance and risk management process in place with a comprehensive planning? Less than half can say yes. And if you just say, show me the document and let's take a sample, you pick 3 samples, that number will significantly reduce, because let's face it, because of cost pressures, everyone has a great IT debt. So if your plan is already, not holistic and not having the right governance in place, reality on the ground is going to be even more challenging. And so the first assessment point would be, how seriously are you, and that goes back to the stakeholder, is the CEO involved? How seriously are you about changing your business? Because we're not just going to change IT. We want to take the business to the next level with help of IT. And that buy-in is needed to understand that things will look different on the other side. So once you have all that, let's focus on data cleansing to curate the right patterns, to make sure whatever you do is reusable, to make sure that you do comprehensive testing, you don't cut corners on that, to make sure that we really ask ourselves, all this custom code, all of those special configurations we made, does this really add value? Why are we having it? That needs to go to a governance board where the business needs to explain to the CEO, this is why I need this differently than the standard. And just by doing that, by having the willingness for the organization to go through the painful process of self-assessment, is that needed? Is that adding value? If the organization is ready to do that, you can overcome any issue or chasm you have on your data side. So it's not so much a technical part, but the organizational willingness to address it.
All right, thank you. That was a solution provider perspective. Sudesh, as a technology leader, what do you think? What's your approach to assessing your organization's data readiness? Tell us some of the best practices that's worked for you.
Interesting question. And in the global organization like Panasonic, interesting part is you can have a local version of the data and the global version of the data. So some of the master data or some component of any master data, let's take a product master data, or in SAP terms, metal master data. You can have some component which are managed globally and some components which are managed locally at the regional level. Now, to embark a transformation journey, you have to make sure that business team understands that part. Okay, this is what we can change. This is what we can't change. Each division has their own version of data, and people love to download the data in Excel and store it. And now, thanks to AI, people have started downloading and start doing some coding on their laptops, and just managing the small version of database, everything they're doing. And that is what we call in Panasonic shadow ITs. Like people are doing some reporting and everything, and they're sharing with CEO and CFO as well. Let me tell you, they don't know whether it's coming from IT or it's coming from the business team. Mm-hmm. Now it start generating a lot of additional data, which IT, even the different business functions are not aware. And that is a recipe for disaster, because these people will expect in the transformation, the new product system, they will get everything, which will never happen. And that's where, as Maruli said, data governance body should be there, where all the stakeholders should sign off their version of data, either finance, logistics, plant, manufacturing data, the general data, marketing side data. The view of that data should be agreed upon. And this is a data council like what we have in Panasonic is a data council that we use. So any major change in the data structure or metadata, it goes through the data council. So we understand exactly why we are adding that component. And that helps organization to do the transformation project. And then definitely reporting, KPI, and now the AI, everything. AI needs data. If you have a quality data, you will get a quality outcome and the automation done. So I think data absolutely is one of the critical factors to make the project successful or transformation successful.
All right. Now, Sudesh, I would want to continue with you, and I would want to bring up the topic of the resource crunch. Now, all of this data strategies you're talking about, a lot of work to be done with the data. Now, this can be resource intensive, and a lot of IT leaders, such as yourself, you have to deal with with severe resource crunches at times. How do you see the scope of letting technology do all of this work for you, so you can free up resources? Have you tried this in the past? Does it work? What pitfalls do you need to watch out for?
So that's where there's the people like Marlin come in a picture to help us out, in terms of the automation, because they have done it for the multiple organization, for multiple divisions, a different scenario across the geography. That's where we take it. Like, for example, we were talking about the RPA. some of the things which can be automated, specifically in the finance side. That's where the resources would be free. In terms of the data cleansing and the segmentation of data, that okay, how do you measure the quality of the data or the completeness of the data? For example, let's say address as the data, right? And if you need to find the duplication in terms of the address, it's very difficult. That's where the AI can help us. And these are the things which we are using in the transformation journey, which is allowing us to not only just to save the cost, but also getting a quality, improving the quality and improving it in terms of the time frame. So whatever we needed like a month to clean the data, now we can do in 2 weeks, or maximum 3 weeks. So there is a faster, better quality and the cost saving using the right technology and with the right partner.
Right. And as Suresh said, this is where folks like Merlin can really throw some light on this. Merlin, tell us about this. How do you see the scope of letting technology do all the work? How do you free up resources?
It is one of those moments in the transformation of an industry where holding on to what got you here will not get you to where you need to go. And we as a firm have really doubled down, not just in SAP, but specifically in SAP transformation, that this must be everything that can be automated must be automated in a secure way. You need to have a clear data management strategy for that. And if you have a customer like Sudesh, like Panasonic, that embraces that, then it can work because it's a matter of trust. It cannot be necessarily a black box. It's a matter of kind of doing some, smaller projects first to really share how things work, to help understand how we do that. But we're not doing this for the first time. So the approach we have taken that we're saying, look, there are certain repetitive elements that every customer will face. For example, systems conflict analysis, or selective data migration, or when you move around a company code deletion, or time slicing. There are certain things that no matter what your starting position is, and no matter what your target landscape is, you will face. And we were focusing on saying, okay, let's make these small, tangible, end-to-end, as much as automated with a proactive use of AI. We achieved up to 75% of reduction in time. And if you do that in a way that a customer like Panasonic can then see, okay, this is how it was before and after, I trust it. Don't tell me, show me. If you do that, then you can get to the point that we are confident, the internal IT, the partner, and the business, to not bring hundreds of people who do, months and months of recoding, but to say, let's be smart about that. Follow the single source of truth that we agreed from our data governance. We've done the cleaning, we've done the analysis, we demonstrated how it works, and then execute it. But at the end, like with everything, Sumik, it helps if you don't do it for the first time.
Absolutely. Wise words spoken there. All right. We're going to move on to the next part of the conversation. But before that, let's have a quick poll question. Team, we've got a 5th poll question for you. So can we please have that on our screens now? Okay. How open are you to automation or AI to accelerate your SAP transformation? Is it extremely likely, very likely, moderately likely, or not likely at all? So, yeah, we have the naysayers and the naysayers, and let's see, where our audience sides with. Right. In the meantime, I've got a very interesting question that I think I can just quickly take up, and this is coming from Alok Jha. I'll take it in 2 parts. How are we defining and measuring time to value for SAP transformation, and what mechanisms are in place to ensure early business benefits are realized and not just deferred to post-implementation phases? Merlin, I'll throw that question to you first.
Yeah. So I'm sure you all have heard about the SAP's Business Data Cloud, or have some sort of use case in your firm on how to use by moving to a new platform or to a higher grade SAP environment. Everything you did before, you can also do, hopefully cheaper. But the time to is how quickly can you realize benefits for the business that certain queries can be done faster or quicker by the business user, and that instead of the business user tediously working through the system, and like Sudesh says, I mean, I've seen more Excel dumps in my life than I've seen SAP implementations, and those things tend to get legs. And the reason they do it is because the system was too rigid and didn't align to the business requirement. If you demonstrate to the business users that they can work within the system, that they can prompt the system in a way that you have simply a smarter tool to work with. That's a little bit. The impact is we all used to have a mobile phone, and it was a phone. Now, my teenage daughters, the least they do with the phone is actually talking and calling it. Yeah? They call it their phone, but they don't do that. And in the same way, people used to have ERP as a ledger.
Right.
And that's where we download data and then we do something smart. And being faster able for the business to operate within your SAP environment and do the analysis there, that's a key benefit. And if you can say, well, we can do this in half a year or in 3 months or in 6 weeks, that has a tremendous value.
All right. Thank you. Look, I hope that answered your question. Thank you for that, Merlin. All right. Interesting poll result here. How open are you to automation? 38% saying extremely likely, very likely, 33%, moderately likely, 29%, and thankfully nobody says not likely at all. All right. And this, I think, goes pretty much as per our expectations. No surprise there. Audience, I would still urge you to share your questions with us. We'd be more than happy to take it up with our experts out here. You've got a solution provider, you've got a head of technology. They can take on the questions that you've got. All right. In the meantime, I've got one coming up, and this one goes out to Sudesh. Now, Sudesh, this is from a CIO and CDO point of view. Now, CIOs are no longer content with the small pilot projects. They want to achieve transformation at scale. Now, what challenges do you foresee in ensuring that data quality and governance is able to keep up with that scale?
So, data quality in terms of legacy systems, if you, let's say it's a scenario that, okay, you're migrating from the legacy systems, any technology. Business involvement, business ownership, because they understand the data and they own the data. Let's be very clear in terms of. So they need to sign off, and we need to help them to understand the data. Otherwise, they will not allow you to delete the data or leave the data. They will ask you, request you, just transfer all the, let's say, last 20 years data into the new system, because they are not getting a clarity. You are not giving them the tool to analyze the data and decide exactly. So this is the one important part. Normally what happens, we dump the data in Excel, then we ask business team, okay, please sign off that data. And gentlemen, he doesn't have any way to figure out what is the quality of data. And that's where there are different tools available, AI is available, where the IT team can help to improve the quality and get the business alignment to sign off that data. Second part, which is very important, is the governance of the data. So as you said, the data council, right? So no critical decision around the data should be taken in silos, or not a single person can take a decision. It should be a council where the data, any decision around the master data or transition data or life cycle of data, it has to be done, discussed within this council where multiple people, different stakeholders, from different functions are coming together and signing of that strategy or the call what we're going to take it. Two part. Third part, which is said, the global organization like Panasonic, where you have a different versions of data because it's a global version or global part of the component of the data as well as the regional component of the data. Those things also, put in a perspective when we are planning for a transformation.
Right. All right. Thank you for that. Are you able to hear me, Suresh,
Yes.
yeah, all right. I thought I just went on mute out there. All right, thank you so much for that. Um, Quick takeaways from you as well, Merlin. Now, we heard a CIO's point of view. Tell us a solution provider's point of view. Very quickly, since we are almost coming up on the top of the hour, how can you help organizations achieve SAP transformation at scale? Have you cracked a secret way to it? Or what's the secret sauce at Kindle?
Okay, so if you only want me to be really quick, I say simple might work.
Right.
If you give me a second sentence, I would say, look, at the end, from our provider side, we say it. So they said it's the ownership of the data. We would even more, they own the business. So we usually go in and say, let's co-create the to-be landscape with the business. We have a dedicated process called Kyndryl Vital on how to discover that. Yeah, we then go in with a consulting team that is not, division strength, but small experienced team, but with the scars of operational reality. So we can have a eye-level conversation. It doesn't help if the provider is prescriptive. This is how you have to do it. It also doesn't help if the customer side is dogmatic about certain things. I need to have that, always what's the business value? And then it comes to what we also see in the poll, thankfully, a change in the setting that people are open to work not only harder, but smarter. And if you embrace it in the right way and say, look, maybe you do brownfield. Maybe you decide to go for a greenfield migration. Maybe you want to be ready for M&A activity. And there's a lot of things to consider that happens, and you have a conversation, but it needs to be on eye level. IT needs to step up to the business, why we are doing it, and the business needs to understand you can't just wait until the last moment and throw it over to the IT guys to go fix it. That's not how an integrated company can work anymore. And at the end of the day, I'd always say go talk to the references of any provider. That's the best thing you can do. Call the people who've been through that, because anyone can boot from PowerPoint.
Understood. I've got another question for you, but I'm going to table that because I want to take our audience questions first. Let me quickly take one that's come from Saswata Mitra, who's asking us integration of SAP with ServiceNow. What are some of the best practices, for instance, in the airline industry? Merlin, could you help him with that? Any takeaways for the airline industry, or any best practices when you're talking about SAP integration with ServiceNow?
So I think the most important thing is to make sure you do this with a holistic approach. Like Sudesh said, any best of breed solution now may change. Maybe you migrate from ServiceNow to something else, or from SAP to something else. So whatever you can do is API based. Make sure that there is a certain interoperability, and don't go off trying to replicate the complexity of reality in the system, but ask yourself, can you make it less complex in the process you want to manage it? But that said, it's a great question. We could spend a whole day on this one, and everyone has scars to share about this. But in a nutshell, make sure you're not locked in.
All right, understood. We've got one interesting question that's coming in from Panos. Panos, thank you. You made my life easier. All right, so Panos is asking us a high level of automated steps monitored by humans or maybe even AI has to be used in order to run a migration or transformation as smoothly as possible, since this would be part of the accepted tests. I use AI in analysis and preparation, or do you see AI is ready to sit in the driver's seat for large scale projects? I would want both your opinions on that. Sudesh, I'll quickly take yours. Sudesh, do you think we can trust AI to take over the driver's seat at this point?
Sorry, I would not agree on that part. That AI is not there. I mean, specifically with the SAP transformation project, when you talk about, let's say, your master data, your finance data, your account balance, we are moving, or transitioning data transfer from one system to another. I think any CFO would like a human check. Let's be very clear. Any plant head, the logistic head would like to, someone from his team to verify it. Because as soon as you say that AI can take a driver's seat, they would expect the IT or CIO to give them the confirmation or ownership that, okay, everything is right, what AI is going to do. And as an IT head or CIO, I will not get assurance or confirmation from any OEM or any service partner that whatever the AI is telling or doing is 100% sure. Keeping that mind, I don't think so anybody would allow right now to AI take a driver's seat. AI can help in the conjunction with the human. So AI can do that when human can do some sampling check. But when it comes to, let's say, ledger detail, right, account detail, nobody's gonna just trust AI. It has to be done by person, somebody finance side. So those are the reality right now. I'm sure in the future we will have that stage, but we are not there yet.
All right, Merlin, your point of view, please. We've got Panos here who's asking. He uses AI in analysis and preparation. What are your thoughts on this? Is AI ready to sit in the driver's seat for large scale projects?
Okay, so threefold answer. One is from a regulatory perspective, I don't think that works.
Okay,
that's not a technical statement. It just says, who checked it? My AI. Not sure that works yet, but this is something that will probably be addressed soon. The second part, if we speak about agentic AI, so we say AI is able to make certain decisions and route where things need to go. There is a tremendous progress in the field. And if you have a clear scope, not end to end, but if you say, well, for this part, AI, the human hand on the wheel, but the driving is done by AI. And that is actually possible. We're running pilots on this. So I'm with Sudesh on, this can happen, or it will happen fast. We're doing pilots, but it's not done at scale yet. But then if we come again back here in a year's time, I'm sure a poll on this question will show how far we've got. And the last part is, it really depends on the individual willingness of the firm to embrace AI. Because if you say, I don't let AI do the transformation work, what part of your day-to-day business are you not letting run by AI? And if you apply the same principles, you may come to the point that because we don't do it as often, these migrations, we are reluctant to agree to it, but that's our human bias regarding the situation. So it really helps to not measure with dual standards and say, in a run setting, would we allow AI to make these decisions?
Right. Thank you for that. Panos, I hope that answers your question. I've got a quick, another product-related question, so I'm going to throw it to you. Merlin, we've got Giriraj Lakotia who's asking, we are upgrading our SAP architecture to SAP Grow from ECC.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that we keep the same codes for material, vendor, customer, etc. in Grow as there was in ECC, or should we go for fresh codes? What do you think is going to help us in the future?
You need to have a clean core, and you need to make sure this is your one chance to clean out everything that you don't necessarily need. I would advise to invest upfront enough time to make sure, are we carrying with us any baggage regarding structure, data, or codes that is really adding value to the business. And it sounds very simple. It's very hard to answer, because it also the business needs to justify, why do we need it this way? And other than that, it depends on your personal preference. Some people want to have cost later, others want to have costs sooner and have a smoother ride afterwards.
All right. Thank you for that. Merlin, I think you answered that question perfectly well. All right. Now, before I come to the last question, I've got one audience poll for you. This is going to be the last of our polls. So, team, can we quickly put up the last poll question for the audience, please? Okay, poll 6. Which strategy do you believe is the most effective for ensuring data quality in SAP transformation? Is it going to be through regular audits and monitoring, data governance frameworks, AI and automation, or change management and awareness programs? A bit of reading for you to do there. And in the meantime, let me see if I can quickly slip in my question. And Sudesh, let me throw this question to you. What should organizations do to move or transition from reactive reporting to getting predictive insights using AI and analytics in their SAP environments?
So SAP has come a long way, and now you have a data analytics as well in the cloud, and you also have a beautiful platform called BTP.
Mhm.
And it allows you. So earlier, if you think that, and still organizations are not doing, and there is nothing wrong and right. To be honest with you, it's a strategy. Putting the data in a lake house or data
Mhm.
warehouse, right? That's one option. And you also have a SAP data cloud, SAP analytics cloud, and using the BTP integration as well, you can bring it there. That's where, and SAP is also day by day. AI is it's a journey, as I said. Like it's helping to analyze the data faster and raise the alert. So yesterday we were discussing in terms of, and that is a business expectation as well. Look, people don't expect leaders now expecting that. Okay, I should not just look at the dashboard and figure out myself what I should do. The
Okay.
system should be smart enough to tell me the pattern where it's going, drop it, whether it's a high inventory, and it should forecast, and that's where the business leader can a decision, take it, change the strategy based on the how the market is reacting on that. And this is where SAP can play a role, important role, based on their investment the AI is doing, and the partners like the Kinder, how business will look like, how the market will react based on that data can tell us, and then
Mhm.
decide the next steps.
All right. All right. Thank you for that. All right, team, can we have the results of the last poll that we just saw? And after that, we've got some very specific questions I'm going to throw to Merlin. All right. So 43%, that's the maximum that believes it's going to be through data governance frameworks. And next up is 29%, which is through regular auditing and monitoring. Following that is AI and automation, followed by change management and awareness programs. So data governance frameworks takes the top spot there. Merlin, quickly on this poll result, is this something that you would also agree with? Do you concur to what you've seen? Merlin, can you hear me?
I was on mute. So I go with yes. Yeah. I'm a little bit struck with the uh, belief in audits in this, because it's very reactive and it's after the fact. Yeah. So I really do believe establishing a unified data strategy, and leveraging the capabilities and foster a data-driven culture that
Right.
people understand. If you move off, that has implications. We need to have a single source of truth. But that is difficult, and it needs everyday work. It's a lot easier to say, "Hey, I've done an audit last year, or I do 2 audits per year, and then I'm done." It's a little bit like going on a diet or having a lifestyle change. And I think in our data driven, data is the basis for everything that we do. And we need to understand that it's no longer okay to just do your download and then go off of it and make business decisions based on that. So I'd say establishing that with the culture and establishing the strategy is better than being post fact and having an audit. That said, we will need those anyway, but they're not helping us moving forward.
Right. I've got another quick question that I would want to throw at you, and this is coming from Dr. Chitranjan Kesari, who's asking us, how can a normal user learn SAP BTP? What would you recommend, Merlin?
Oh, look there. Look, you can get. BTP is a platform. You can go on SAP Learning and do your certification and whatnot. Yeah. So I think that is something. Um, I would give different advice. I would say every IT person should have developed a plurality in their skill set. So you need to have IT and something. That end can be whatever is your interest. Yeah. But it is really about not be only IT. It's like standing on one leg. You can do that. That's not the best thing to do. And that said, I think SAP has enough resources to go and learn about BTP, yeah? But it's adjacent skills within the business or within the technology.
All right. The last question, I'll take Tejinder Pal Singh's. Sudesh, you can feel free to pitch in for this one as well. Which other ERP comes close to SAP S4? And in what way does SAP win over it?
That's a difficult
Cheeky one,
sorry.
yeah.
So let me tell you, I was fortunate enough to work as a SAP developer. I work in Waldorf for CRM 5.0, so I was a developer. I done the consulting role as well, so I was like on the Merlin side as well, and I'm now as a part of the enterprise IT, so understand the IT. And I'm not biased to SAP, but the depth of SAP, different modules. I will not name any product because all products are good, meeting the requirement. Then they are good. There is nothing. But I have not seen anyone close to SAP when it comes to manufacturing or the complex and a discrete industry. SAP is one of the best, and that's why SAP is there after so many years. If you look at the SAP history, there were many products when the SAP came in the market, but you will not find anyone near to SAP as of now.
Merlin, I already know your answer, but to rephrase, what do you think is second best?
Okay, so yeah, I am biased. Yeah, so disclaimer, but Kyndryl is not. Yeah, we have several service lines. SAP is one of them, and it really depends on the industry, on the setting. And let's face it, it's a tool, and a fool with a tool, is still a fool. So it really is, it's not just about changing platform. It's not about the shiny gadget. And the cost of changing an ERP system, is significant. It may well be worth it. I'm not saying that, but it really is on a case-by-case basis. And I also think that it really depends on the industry. In telco, for example, another major provider has a very strong footprint, but I agree with Sudesh. In manufacturing, I don't even think there is a second place. So it really depends. And at the same time, I'd say this question needs to be re-answered every year. So as long as SAP is investing and moving forward, they may keep the lead in many of those elements. But look at other companies. The market is changing quickly, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all of those players in the ERP field are answering to AI, and how AI will transform the ERP landscape in 5 years. So it's going to be fantastic. I don't give a bet on that answer for in 5 years' time.
All right, fair enough. I think that was a pretty good neutral answer from you, Merlin, and Tejinder. I hope that answered your question from Sudesh as well as from Merlin. All right, folks, that's pretty much all we have for you. We've taken all of the audience questions. I got all my questions answered by Sudesh and Merlin. You guys have been excellent with sharing your insights, best practices, and ways for SAP transformation. Thank you again. I really love the music at the beginning part of the webinar, so I would want my team to play it again. That said, you guys have a great evening ahead. Thank you.